Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Instagram Live, a new experience. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to add on. There we go. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Here is Shahin June.
Hi there.
Maybe while we're waiting for everybody to join in, we have 11 people. Maybe you can do a little introduction before we get going, and I can kind of give an introduction and how we're going to go about this Instagram Live.
Hi everyone. This is Neeki, my cousin. I'm Shahin Nouri. And Neeki has been nice enough to arrange this series of casual talks. You might have heard about our campaign on social media. It's Hope for Shahin. The story started when I was diagnosed 1.5 years ago with lymphoma. So my close family and friends, about 20, 30 people, have been joining me in us trying to increase the awareness that minorities in general, and in particular minorities from Middle Eastern countries like Iranians and Kurds, have a very weak presence in the websites or banks for stem cells and bone marrows internationally. So as I'm going through the treatment for lymphoma, and I'm hoping to get a stem cell transplantation, hopefully in 2 months or so, at the same time, we are hoping to, as we were saying, reach out more and more minorities and encourage them to join. So this is part of our little campaign at the microcosmos level, trying to reach out people.
Yes, of course. That's awesome. So maybe I'll go from my end. So we kind of want to format it, of course. The goal of these Instagram Lives is to have a casual chat. So first, we're, of course, going to start with Shahin June and tell his story and what's life outside of being a patient, of course, because that's what's most important. So we're just very casual. If you have any questions, we thought maybe if anybody has any questions, we can answer them at the end, or we can maybe make a whole new Instagram Live answering if anybody has any questions throughout the Instagram Live. Hopefully that format works for today. And with that said, maybe I'll start with my casual questions. All right, so let's go with the first one. What kind of hobbies do you have outside of working?
Oh, well, actually, my treatment for lymphoma has sort of like kidnapped a lot of my life the past few months, and also the campaign that we have. But under normal circumstances, I would say I like arts, design, politics, photography in particular. So I got my first mirror reflex camera at age 13, and I've been playing with cameras ever since. Addictive. Guys and their toys, right? I love traveling, and until before COVID, I've been traveling, obviously. That was a hobby. And recently, I've been getting into Oculus. So that whole VR world is new to me.
That's a whole new realm of things.
Yeah. For my generation, that's like eye-opening.
Yeah. Even I don't know how to format that. That's hard.
It's tricky.
That's for sure. What about, somebody says, what about food?
Oh yeah, I love cooking.
Foodie?
And unfortunately, I don't have the habit of following recipes.
Okay.
So I sort of like add stuff as I go on. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
So if I were to come to New York City, what is the maybe one or a few places that, I really have to go try? Do you have any?
As an attraction?
Foods. Or
Oh, for
attractions.
food.
Or attractions. Any recommendations?
One of the new attractions we have is the Hudson Yards,
Oh, yeah.
and a viewing platform has opened on the 102nd floor of the building. I think it's called The Edge, and it's an amazing place to have a beautiful view of the whole New York City area because it's set aside so you have the view from north to south all together. So I would definitely squeeze that, even for people who live in New York for a long time and people who have been to the top of Empire State and Freedom Tower. I recommend definitely to go and have a new look at the city from there. The food scene in New York obviously is unbelievable.
It's completely different from anywhere else.
Yes. So it depends what you're in the mood for. And they have the, what New York City, what's the name of it? Food Week that is now extended basically to 2 months. They still call it Food Week.
But it's 2 months.
2 months, really.
That's so good. I didn't know that there was a food week / month in New York. I should come when that happens.
Sometime in spring, but we definitely need to bring you back to New York at that time of the year.
I come back to New York. Everybody, followers, whoever comes back to New York, we go during food month. All right. So what about, you said traveling. What has been your most exotic or maybe favorite place to travel, and why was it your favorite place to travel?
Oh, that's tricky.
There's many options in the world.
I've seen some of North America, Europe, Africa, Southeast Asia. I would say probably one of my most favorite places was Botswana, because it sounds like in Southern Africa, the country next to South Africa, they have done a good job with preservations. So poaching is more or less controlled the country to most African countries. So you come very close in contact with the wildlife. And I spent there a couple of weeks, but the most important message that I got is that we have forgotten how close with nature we used to be. We were just part of that, but now our urbanization has made us
completely separated the two.
Separated, exactly. I had one tiny little experience that was the very last day I was there, and it shook me to my core. Really, it was I was with this place where they would give us little tours, and we were on this island on the in the how do you call it, the watery area. And they took us for a drink to watch the sunset. So very casually we go there and they give us a drink, a fancy drink, I'm watching. And then suddenly the tour guide tells us, guys, don't move. There are 3 lions watching us. So
3 lions?
There were 3 male lions within like about 50 yards, just sitting there and watching us. So very well positioned to attack us within minutes. Within seconds, actually, really. And,
oh my goodness, what an experience.
And it would be very safe. So I was really panicking. And I kept asking the guy, what's our plan?
Where? Are we running? Are we staying? What are we doing?
Just Mother Nature will take care of it. I'm like, what if Mother Nature wants to feed me to the lions?
I am Mother Nature. What if they're going to eat me?
So there is a symbiosis between the animals there, and the lions over there know not to attack humans. And we are so far away from that. I would do anything at that moment to be back in my tiny little apartment in Manhattan.
Yeah.
But it was just such a reminder that we're part of the nature, really.
It is true. It is true. And such different societies view nature so differently. Like how you were saying, you know, there it doesn't matter if there's a lion 2 meters away. Here we freak out and run the other direction.
Oh, yeah.
The different cultures are so different.
Exactly. And we're so more scared of our other humans.
Exactly. Wow, that's a very cool experience to have.
Yeah, I mean, traveling, I think, is so important for everyone to just open our horizons and embrace other cultures and other people. And just realizing how tiny little part we are from the whole humanity.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true. So if COVID, enables us to travel, what's the first place maybe you would go to? Maybe that you've been before, or a new place that you haven't been to try.
So one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen was the island of Bali in
Oh,
Indonesia.
Bali, yes.
It's such a beautiful combination of the nature, very unique nature and culture. I think supposedly the only Hindu island out of the 1,500 Muslim Indonesian islands. So they have a
Oh,
very
wow.
interesting
I
mix
didn't know that.
of cultures and history and nature. But I'm dying to see China.
Oh, yes,
So
that's so
that's
true.
definitely on my list.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like they're again like different culture, very different atmosphere and everything. I feel like that'd be very
Yeah.
interesting as well. I think that should be on my list. Maybe
Yes, such
Peru
an
and
old,
then that one.
I know. So we should do a big field trip.
Yes,
And a whole bunch
everybody.
of us going
First
there.
we go to New York for Food Month, and then we go around the world.
China.
That's a good idea. So maybe let's do a different kind of question, more again into hobbies and kind of things outside of this campaign maybe. So is there anything maybe since quarantine or since COVID, any hobbies that you've picked up, like painting or something like that, or kind of the same as before?
Demonstrations. So I live in downtown Manhattan, and that has been such an important part of the resilience. I mean, as you know, New York was so affected by COVID.
Yeah.
And it felt really surreal at the beginning, where everything was closed. People were so scared of each other and of other people in their vicinities. And for me personally, it was obviously a little bit more complicated because I was also getting the treatment for lymphoma. But walking on the streets of Manhattan was definitely a very good experience. I had my daily walks, and I tried to walk about 10,000 steps. But at the same time, Black Lives Matter movement started as it was spreading in New York, and it was very inspiring. So,
of course,
I did. It was a good reminder for me. I did remember that again we're part of the bigger community. So I started going to these demonstrations, and that was very energizing.
Eye-opening, energizing, seeing the other perspective.
Exactly. And I'm still hoping that we see the fruits of all that movement.
Of course,
hopefully
of course.
Coming.
Yeah, and I think New York, of all places in the world, is the best place to be for this. There's so many people. Everybody's very active. Everybody's always out and about in New York, it seems.
So true. So true.
It's the best place to be for this.
Yeah, if you walk to any of the big squares, sooner or later, demonstrations would start there and people would gather and express themselves. It was an amazing experience to be part of it.
Of course, and I think seeing, like what you were saying, seeing COVID hit New York, the busiest city, I feel like probably in the U.S., like such a busy city, it must have been so odd to see nobody in the streets. Exactly. That's such an interesting experience in itself.
Yes. So being in Times Square is supposedly one of the busiest spots on the planet.
Wow.
And to be in Times Square and not seeing a soul was so surreal.
Oh, gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think any time in, the world you would never see Times Square empty.
Exactly.
Never. And it was never been empty.
Hoping a lockdown like that will never ever happen again.
That's so interesting. Wow. Well, those are the casual kind of questions we have. I don't know if anybody has any questions, or maybe, I don't know. That was our casual chit chat. We didn't want to make it too long, just so everybody would stay engaged. But we'll be back next Thursday for more interviews. So if you think of any questions, or you want to ask a question now, please feel free. Otherwise, we're here to chat for a couple more minutes. Oh, great. Someone's asking. So New York, you live in New York City?
Yes, downtown Manhattan.
Perfect. Yes. Most vibrant city.
True.
Yes, of course. And a great hospital to be at as well for.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm fortunate in that way to be close to Memorial Sloan Kettering is a very good center for oncology.
Of course, of course. That's amazing. So one time, I'm in Canada. So one time, Shahin has to come to Canada too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you always live in great cities. So I definitely will visit you soon.
Yes. Yes, of course. Vancouver, I mean, I'm in Toronto now, but you have to come to Vancouver, Toronto, all of Banff.
Absolutely.
Someone's asking, hi, Dr. Nouri, how are you? How are you doing? How is everything in general?
Great. Thank you. It sounds like my cancer is responding to the treatment I'm getting at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hoping to have a transplantation of stem cells within about 2 months. And hopefully that will be the definite treatment for me.
There
Thanks.
we go. And then you can come to Canada and visit.
Absolutely. And more.
This is actually a great question, actually. So they ask, you love art. Are you also an artist?
No, I'm basically more of an art consumer.
Art enthusiast. That's the nice way of saying enthusiast.
Yes, photography is the furthest I have gone.
Photography.
And now with electronics, it's actually so easy to have a camera in the hand.
And with all the places that you travel, I'm sure you could get so many good photos and just scenes and landscapes.
I am a little bit worried of not experiencing the moment as well. So I like to, when I'm traveling, I like to document where I've been.
Of course.
But a lot of it I want to experience personally as opposed through the lens of the camera. So
of course.
I'm not that aggressive in taking pictures.
Yeah, it's a balance. It's a balance between taking nice photos and actually being in the moment.
Being in the moment, exactly.
Yeah, being in the moment, and that's everything. Everything in life, being in the moment is so important.
That is true. True. I do practice whenever I have the discipline, transcendental meditation.
Oh, yes.
This is an amazing way of remembering. It's just like now and here is the most important part.
What does this kind of meditation entail? Like, is it like a video you watch or an audio, or is it
actually, the difference between transcendental meditation and other disciplines of meditation is that it lets your mind go free as opposed to trying to put your mind in a particular frame, like a lot of guided meditations. So for me in particular, that works the best. So you get a short training with the specialist, and then you practice on your own. You don't need to be with a group or listen to anything. And during most of the meditation, your mind is flying free. So that's the beauty of it. That's what I like.
Interesting. And you usually do it individually, yes? It's not usually in a group.
There are groups, and there are also Zoom meditations now.
Zoom,
where,
yes. Zoom,
hundreds of thousands of people are joining, actually.
Wow.
Right, and that I did also during the quarantine a couple of times. Yes, especially for somebody who's used to, multitasking and being all over the place. I think this is probably the best kind of meditation.
Of course. You're always busy. There's always something going on. You're in New York. There's always something.
All of us. This is the product of our time, right?
Of course. So there's actually a few questions in the chat. So someone is asking, what is the best place to live in the U.S. after New York City? New York City might be hard to beat.
That's true. I think I've lived in D.C. for a couple of years, and I think D.C. is very livable. And it's a good combination if you're okay with living with the government.
Yeah, the government in your backyard. That's so true.
So DC is definitely my favorite too.
DC, yeah, same coast. You don't have to change time zones if you move there. That's good. That's good.
Or weather much.
Yeah. Okay, so we have one more here. So it says, when you first came to New York, when you first landed from DC to New York, where was the first place that you remember visiting? Or was there your first tourist place, if you remember?
Well, actually, the very first time that I visited New York was in '87. And,
so you came before.
My brother Fatty Bors and my cousin Nalme, they picked me up from the airport, and we were supposed to head to my uncle's. where they had a tiny little like dinner party for me, the new arrival. But they made I think Nagma was driving, and they made a big loop in Manhattan, and just seeing the view, the skyline, and the view of Manhattan at night was so overwhelming that by the time I arrived at my uncle's dinner party, my heart was beating, and I was like, where is this?
Wow, yeah, the New York City skyline would be beautiful at night.
Exactly.
And that being the first thing that you see, I'm sure it was blown away. I would have been blown away if that was the first thing I saw in New York City.
Yeah.
Of course. Sorry, some people are asking about other countries. So on our website, shahinswings.org, all of the information would be on there. If you go on other countries, if you live somewhere besides Canada and US, you can just go there and all the information is going to be there for you. And maybe it may be easier than me saying links all of a sudden on the Instagram Live. Probably easier that way. All right. So we've been going on for a little bit. I don't know if anybody has any more questions or let me see. Let me read. Maybe I missed some questions. Let me check real quick just in case. All right. Somebody asked, can you walk us through a meditation maybe, or what does a meditation entail so we can do it on our own time, or totally up to you what you would like to do with that question.
So this particular discipline, transcendental meditation, is a little bit different than other disciplines of meditation. It's a little bit tricky at the beginning because people are supposed to be trained by this organization, Transcendental Meditation. They have a center in Switzerland, and they have offices in most major cities. So they train you, they pick a particular mantra for you, and then you do some group meditation, and then after you have completed the courses, then you can do on your own. And as we're saying, the practical discipline is 2 20-minute periods per day. And there are a lot of medical scientific evidence that this particular kind of meditation puts the brain into a relaxation different than other disciplines of meditation. So it is proven to change a lot in the physiology of the body in addition to just relaxing. So yes, please do look up transcendental meditation and see what you think.
That's interesting. I feel like I'm a student, so I feel like this would be very helpful for me. I just started school today, so I better have it sooner than later.
And soon, hopefully, heading to medical school, right?
Yes. Hopefully, fingers crossed, next fall, hopefully.
Nice.
So how long does the process, the training take itself? Like, is it months, weeks, or, at your own pace?
So the training, unfortunately, I think it's a little bit costly. I'm sure they have other options to make it more practical for people. But as far as I remember, it's something between 5 to 7 days. And I actually
it's quick.
Yeah, it's quick. I had my training back in Iran when I was 19 years old, and many decades later in New York, as I restarted the practice and went to the center that they have here, they already looked up my history and they said, you don't need any more training. That's one time in your lifetime.
Oh, one time. You don't need more than once.
And it's like riding bicycle and you can restart. So at the beginning it might be a little bit costly, and it takes about a week, but it sounds like it's reliably sustainable.
Sustainable. Interesting that you don't have to renew it after a long time. And after this training, you can then teach it, or you can just practice?
Oh, no. Teaching is a very complicated
that's a longer path.
But you have the option of doing group practices with them, group meditations for free. So that's very helpful.
That was the big Zoom sessions.
Oh, yeah.
The big...
Yes, or in person. So I think they might have already started the in-person sessions again in our major cities.
Oh, yeah.
But if you should be interested, you can always look into doing the group sessions for Zoom as well.
Yeah, very cool. Sorry, somebody says they sent their envelope. Thank you. Somebody says their envelope and hoping they're the match. We hope you are too.
Wow, perfect.
Thank you so
you.
much. I think Sarah June, thank you so much. I actually, while you were speaking, I had one question. So you were saying New York was so empty, you know, during times of COVID. How is it now? Is it better? Is the city more lively, or still not quite, you know, the way it was before? How is the city feeling now?
Yeah, it's definitely not where it was before. I think part of it because the tourists aren't as frequently coming as before.
That's true.
But also a lot of people who worked in Manhattan now don't live in don't work or live in Manhattan.
Yeah, yeah.
So many people work from home, and a lot of people have even actually moved out.
Yeah.
So probably on an average, you see maybe 40%
Right.
of
Okay.
people that you used to see in crowded times or rush hour.
That's a little better.
Yeah.
A little bit more people on the streets.
Yeah, hopefully the pandemic will be controlled, and by next year things will go back to normal.
City will be a little bit more lively. And,
Absolutely.
you know, of course,
Broadway
and traveling will start again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll all go back. It's very, so I remember on, I think it's your Instagram or on your LinkedIn, you say, I love the quote that you have. It says, I read brainwaves. No, seriously, it's something like that, am I right? It's something along those lines. It's the best way to say that you're a neurologist. I read brainwaves.
Yes, so as you know, I'm an epileptologist. So we do EEGs, electroencephalogram, and it sounds very sci-fi. That's what I think about. Yeah,
when you say EEG and it's the long name of EEG, it sounds very like, you know, intense, but it's brainwaves. It's you read brainwaves. I know. So I just saw the comments and I remembered. I love that caption. It's such a funny way of putting it.
It's probably a bad way of introducing myself. Maybe scare some people off.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like I can read your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a cute question. So, do you have a favorite brain fact or some interesting information that maybe we don't know?
Brain fact.
Brain fact.
Let's see. Yeah, so as you know, most people are right-handed, and in probably 97% of people are right-handed, and all of them, including also some left-handed people, have the dominant side of the brain on the left side. And basically, the specialization, as far as we have found out, of different areas of the brain is simply the product of evolution. So if you, for example, find different areas of the brain in primates and compared to the areas in our brains, and then how they have differentiated into particular areas, it just follows the course of evolution. For example, the center that is designed in the left or both actually temporal areas of the brain to understand the spoken language is close to the center for hearing. So it does make sense that if you are going through evolution and you evolve speech, then that brain also needs to understand the speech. So what's the best place in the brain to put it? But next to the hearing center. So I wish somebody, I'm sure there are lots of studies that have looked at the anthropology and evolution of the brain and how that has affected specialization of different areas of the brain.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that it went back to evolution in terms of, you know, what area of the brain is more dominant.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like even primates develop a dominant side of the brain.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And speaking of, you know, brain and your career as a neurologist, what is maybe your favorite part of your career of being epileptologist? What is your favorite kind of part of your whole job?
I think compared to, as you know, neurology deals with kind of the problems of the brain, and the common conditions that a neurologist sees are stroke, headache,
Yeah.
and then some degenerative conditions like dementia, Parkinson's, multiple
Yeah.
sclerosis, and so on. But epilepsy has always been fascinating to me. In particular, part of it is because the patient has a seizure and they go more or less back to their baseline, and us as physicians, we get the chance to intervene and help improve the course
Yeah.
of the condition. So the reversibility of that and having the chance to help patients and change the course of the treatment, course of the disease is what has fascinated me in epilepsy, really.
Interesting, interesting. So that was the main reason why you specialized specifically into
Oh yeah,
epilepsy
it's a
itself.
lot more fun than the rest
It's a
of
lot.
neurology. And also because we read the people's brainwaves.
Brainwaves, brainwaves. Of course, that's the whole thing.
What it boils down to.
And for maybe, I don't know if those of you know, Shahin is actually the founder and director of the Comprehensive Epilepsy Center at the Brooklyn Methodist Hospital. So he's done so much for the epilepsy community. You know, he was 3 years ago. My family and I all went to New York, and we went to an event that he was honored by the Metropolitan Epilepsy Foundation for his amazing work for the community. So, you know, he's the best of the best in epilepsy. In New York City, you know, the best city to be a physician. He's the best of the best. So he's done so much for the epilepsy community. And you can tell by his passion and how much he loves, how much he really loves and specialized into this career.
Thank you. Thank you. That's
Of course, of course. We say the truth. That's the truth. All right. So does anybody, I guess maybe does anybody have any more questions? Or it's been about 35 minutes now. I don't know if you wanted to stop the live or... Yeah, well, I think this was very casual. This was our first Instagram live ever. I mean, I tried one last week to kind of test out the waters to see how Instagram lives were, but I think the interviews were this interview has worked out very well.
Yes, it was fun.
Very casual. Do you feel like it's very casual, just talking? It feels like a Zoom call. We're so used to Zoom calls now, too.
True.
We're so used to being on our phones and our laptops all the time with this much of our screen. Like, you don't know what's going on that side and that side. But this part looks nice.
I'm working in your pajamas, right?
Yeah. You don't want to see what pants I'm wearing. The top is nice, though. That's the Zoom and COVID lifestyle that we've learned, and it's going to be hard to adapt to when we go back.
True. We all have to get some rehabilitation.
Exactly.
Not to be in face-to-face contact with people again.
Exactly. We just started school today, and my roommate went to class, and she was like, "This is so strange. There's people around me. I'm talking to people. There's 30 people in my class. It's so abstract to us now that there's people."
That's good. Good.
Yeah. Anyways, so. Oh, this is hi Shirajun. So Dr. Shahin, may I ask you what drew you to neurology in the first place? I think this was answered a little bit before, but maybe while you were in medical school, maybe what kind of in relation to other careers or other specialties that you could have gone into.
Sure. I've always found the brain fascinating, and obviously the essence of what makes us human and what makes us individuals. And there are no two brains similar, and no two brain's physiology, anatomy, the way it functions, the way it's designed, similar. And also the brain changes a lot throughout our lifetime. So it's just the fascination of the science behind it, and the fact that it's the essence of what we are has always attracted me to neurology.
Very interesting. Very cool. And maybe I'll give a little bit more of an intro. So Shahin did his medical training in Germany and then came to DC, and then now, of course, as we know, lives in New York City in downtown Manhattan, which we were talking about earlier is not as full as it was before, but it's getting there. It's getting back to
Oh, yeah.
getting back to the way it was slowly. All right. Thank you for the questions. That was very great. So we learned, I hope everyone learned a little bit more about Shahin June outside of, the campaign, learned a little bit outside of what he does, maybe post-COVID, during COVID, different life experiences a little bit. So I hope everyone was able to kind of, see the other side of what it's like, Of
Thank
course,
you.
being a patient is not everything. There's so many other parts to life, of course, as we always know. So I was very lucky to talk to you today and learn. I mean, I also learned things. I've known you my whole life, and I also learned things today.
Thank you.
So
But you
thank you
actually
so
brought
much.
up a very good point. Very good point. The fact that our lives can be affected by something as big as a serious life-threatening condition, disease, cancer, for example, in my case.
Yes,
But it's for all of us so important to remember that does not define us.
yes, of course.
So you always have to be, I think, true to yourself and always fall back on who you are and see everything that happens to you as something outside, and you have the power to steer through it. So
Yeah,
that's a
of
very
course.
good point you have brought up.
Of course. And maybe a follow-up question to what you were saying. Maybe throughout this journey, through the last kind of year and a half of going through maybe therapy and, waiting for a match, what has been kind of the biggest lesson maybe that you learned or experience that you feel would really, resonate with everybody listening?
Oh, it's that's a tricky question. It's so much.
A loaded question.
Yeah, it's very loaded. Obviously, getting that diagnosis of a cancer, something so life-defining and also possibly life-threatening, is shakes you to the core of the existence. But again, it's important to realize it's your life. Things happen, but they don't have to define you. One of the lessons that I have learned is to not be scared of experiencing the emotions that come with it. A lot of this is just human. If one day I'm scared or disappointed or sad, instead of telling myself, no, I'm a warrior, I have to block all these negative feelings, I think the best bet is to not spend too much energy in fighting those emotions. Just let them exist, acknowledge them. And I personally imagine myself.
Oh, did only I freeze? Or did everybody freeze? Or did just Shahin freeze? I'm not sure who froze. Maybe it's me. If you can hear me, Yossi June, yes, we have time for your question. I think Shahin froze. Oh, yes, I think Shahin froze. Or maybe I'm just not hearing it. Oh, just Shahin left? Okay, let me add him back. We have more questions. We have more. Where did you go? Ah, there we go. Okay. Okay, yeah, he froze? Okay, thanks. Oh, there we go.
Sorry, sounds like a froze.
Yes, continue. You're talking about kind of just accepting the feelings that you have.
Yeah. I think one way for me personally to visualize it is a lot of times when I'm going through a rough time, I imagine myself being like a ship in a stormy sea, and remembering all these waves come, rough days come, and they will go. Tomorrow will be sunshine again. There will be fresh air, and you just push through it and re-energize, regroup, and move forward.
Yes, there's always the light at the end of the tunnel.
True.
All right, that was perfect. So, there's an interesting question. You know many languages. We heard you learn German very fast. So you
Oh.
speak German. Oh, I actually saw your video speak German. Oh, yes, you did your medical school in Germany.
That's true. That's true. I think when you live in the country where you're learning the language, it helps. It was faster. Yes, I had 5 months to learn German and then go to medical school. So
Oh,
I had
my
to rush.
goodness. That's so challenging. Only 5 months to learn an entire new language. What other languages do you speak besides German? Did they help with learning German itself or not
Language
really?
of food more than not just kidding.
That's the only language you need. That's it.
Well, sober languages is only English, German, and Farsi. The rest
Oh,
of them I might need to have
yes.
some alcohol before I attempt.
Before you start speaking some other languages. Oh goodness! Wow, 5 months. I've spent years trying to learn French and it's still not mastered. 5 months. That's very,
Then
very
you have to
impressive.
go stay in France for a couple of months.
Then yeah, okay, so I
That's
have to go
the
to France
decision.
then. What I'm hearing is that I have to live in France for a few months.
Yes, absolutely. It's
I
doctor
have to tell my
prescribed. You
mom.
have to do it.
I have to bring it up now. When I graduate, that's what I'm doing.
Or don't wait that long for it.
Or just
Do
go.
it now. Gee, your parents are gonna hate me.
Oh yes, I think they're watching. All right. Oh, sorry. For those asking again for other countries, if you go on shahinswings.org, or if you just go on our Instagram page, you can see how to help from other countries. It's a little bit easier than me sharing the links from an Instagram live. Yeah. Oh, somebody says food language is universal. It's true.
True.
It is true.
And if you haven't tried, you have to try Persian cuisine.
Yes,
Amazing.
yes. Wherever you live, probably in the bigger cities, you'll see it more. But any Persian cuisine, kebabs, stews, if there's Persian people like ghormeh sabzi, something you have to try. Like,
Yeah.
you can't not try that. Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully where everybody lives, there is some type of Persian cuisine. If everybody's from Iran, then we don't have to worry about that. All right. So I think okay. We have, one more question, and then maybe we'll wrap it up, just so everybody can get to their dinner times and everything. We're talking about food so much, I'm getting hungry. And somebody says ghormeh sabzi with the heart emojis. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Somebody says, what is your favorite dish?
Oh, probably fesenjoon.
Oh, yes. That's
It's
also
such a unique Persian dish and such
unique.
a sophistication. And I like to experiment with it. So the traditional version of fesenjoon comes with basically white duck from Caspian Sea. But probably the common versions are having it with chicken or red meatballs in it.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite of all time is having fesenjoon with fish kebab, salmon kebab in particular.
Oh, fish!
Yes, so be adventurous and try your fesenjoon with fish next time.
What is the stew itself of fesenjoon? What is it made out of?
So it's pomegranate paste and walnuts, so crushed walnuts.
Oh,
those are the
what
two
an
main
interesting
ingredients.
combo.
Yeah. And then everybody develops their own little tricks. So I add a little bit of saffron and cinnamon and a lot of black pepper to it. So, but pomegranate is absolutely a fruit from heaven. It's something out of earth.
Pomegranate, yeah, pomegranate paste. I remember in Vancouver there was a store that just made pomegranate items.
Oh.
Only pomegranate. Juice, paste, ice cream. We're making us hungry. I'm hungry too talking about this.
And pomegranate martini. Yes, that's the way to go.
You have to get the juice of it.
Yes.
Okay, so when we're coming to New York, we know exactly what we're doing.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Yes, and somebody says you're such an inspiration, truly, Shahin June. You are. To all of us, family members, and everybody following, the campaign, it's truly an inspiration to see. And it's nice that everybody is seeing the journey, the progress, and towards finding the match. So,
thank you. Thank you for
amazing.
the support.
It's amazing, and obviously we're all here to support you. We all love you. I mean, from your
Absolutely.
family, I say. And yes, all right, we love you. Nadia says we love you, and okay, maybe we'll end it here so we go eat dinner.
Thank you. Thank you. So good time with you. Love you
All
all.
right. Thank
Bye.
you, everybody, for joining. If anybody has any questions or anything, maybe you can send us a message on Hope for Shahin. Otherwise, thank you so much for everybody who came. This was really fun for me. I mean, I had fun doing it. So hopefully we'll see you next Thursday again at the same time at 7 p.m. With either with Shahin again or with another guest that we have lined up. So hope to see everybody next week.
Great. Thank you.
Great.
Looking forward.
Thank
So
you.
good to see you.
Bye, Shahin.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank